everyone, and welcome back to another video. So today we are going to be doing the remaining main 6 redesigns for the series that I started about a few weeks ago. Thank you all so much for being patient. It's been finals month for me, so it's been a little busy doing essays and projects and tests, so I'm very happy that you've all been very patient. Today, I have the returning characters of Applejack, Rainbow Dash, and Fluttershy, Rainbow Dash being my favorite of almost all of the main 6 besides maybe Twilight. And as you saw in the last video, I drew Twilight, Rarity, and Pinkie Pie, so definitely check out part 1 if you'd like to see those designs. But first off, we're starting with sketching Applejack. I've always really liked Applejack and her sort of country / I guess it would be southern sort of aesthetic. I like how she's really hardworking, and out of all of the other main 6 characters, she kind of has more of a quote-unquote job, I guess you could say, like very much like doing a 9 to 5, if you know what I'm talking about. I always really liked her in the show. I thought that her working on the farm and, being headstrong was a really good character of hers, and so in her design, I really wanted it to translate that she was a very strong pony. So I have her doing this sort of, I guess you call it bucking, I think it's for horses, where she's probably hitting a tree or something, because again, she's Applejack, she collects apples. I did redesign her cutie mark this time. I made it an apple with a lasso, because I imagine in my own headcanon, I guess you could say, she would have a lasso, and when she has to go out on adventures, she'd do that a lot more. Here I am doing the line art. For all of these pieces, I do skip the line art because it's basically the same as the sketch, just cleaning up things. For little details of Applejack, I decided to give her, I guess her coat or her fur or skin, it's more of a pattern, more patches, because I think, when she's out in the sun, she definitely derives some sort of tan, I guess you could say. I don't know if that really applies to horses, but you know what I mean. Kind of like when you're in the sun a lot, freckles, I think, tend to develop more often. I think that's something I read somewhere. I don't really remember. But I kept most of her original color scheme, so the orange. She does have lighter hooves, because I imagine when she's running around, she has to, have that. I also gave her hooves more defined than I did the other ponies, because, again, she's working on the farm, she's constantly, running around, chopping things down, taking apples, stuff like that. I kept her hat, because I thought it was really cute, and then I gave her... It's more for cows, I think, but the little ear trackers that they put to know which cow is which, and I put AJ on it because that's what they call her sometimes in the show. I do really like how this design turned out. I think that adding the patches really made it come together, and I don't know, I feel like it's kind of simple but still really reflects the rest of the designs, which I do really like. I like all of the designs I do in this video. Fluttershy may be my least favorite, and that's relative because I still really like how she turned out. Just in comparison, I don't think her redesign was really a redesign because I kind of just added stuff. We'll see it when we see it. But here I am adding the shading and the colors to all of these MLP designs. By the way, I am using Procreate on my iPad, so if you want to know any of the specs and stuff. Also, for her hair, I decided to just kind of keep it in the same way. For a lot of the ponies, I don't change their hair too drastically unless it's Twilight and maybe Rainbow Dash as well. But everyone else's hair kind of stays the same. It may just get shorter or longer. And I decided for Applejack, I'd make her hair a little shorter because, again, she's working. I'm sure she doesn't want that in her face. I also toned down her bangs a little bit, I believe. And then her ponytails, the ones that fall on her neck, are a little shorter as well. Then I wrote her name down, and this is the design. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I do really like Applejack, and I think she fits the main 6 quite well. Now we're going to be moving into Rainbow Dash, and let me tell you guys, Rainbow Dash is one of my favorite characters. She's always been one of my favorite characters. I love how courageous and just brave she is. I like her personality in the show. She's very, I don't know if stubborn is the right word, but she's very headstrong, I guess you could say. And for my design, I really wanted to embody the sort of punk, I guess you could say, the sort of spunk she has. In fact, I love Rainbow Dash so much that I actually have a plush of her. So that's a really fun detail, I thought. For my redesign, I kept it mostly the same, except for Rainbow Dash. I wanted to make her, at least in my mind, I don't know if it translates in the video, but I want to make her a lot shorter than the other ponies. And it's kind of hard to notice that detail because the pose I drew her in isn't a just standing there sort of pose. I imagine for my redesigns that Rainbow Dash is one of the shortest, and that's why number 1, she's more aerodynamic or something. I don't really know. She's the fastest Pegasus in all the land. But I also want to make her shorter because I find, okay, it's like really silly. But there's like this theory called I think it's the short man syndrome, or like the Napoleon theory, where like short people tend to be more angry, which isn't necessarily true. I'm short and I think I'm just fine. But I wanted to make Rainbow Dash a lot shorter than the other ponies. And that's maybe why she, like, became so fast when she was younger, because she always wanted to compete with someone to show that, like, she could make up for it in other areas. I don't really know. I just thought it was a fun little detail that, like, she'd be shorter than the rest of the main 6. And if you, like, lined them all up, she'd probably be one of the shortest ones. And then maybe Applejack or, like, Rarity or Twilight would be on the taller end. I imagine, like, Pinkie Pie, Fluttershy are somewhere in the middle, and, like, Rainbow Dash is, like, at the end. So that's what I wanted to do. I made her wings really, really big because, again, she is the fastest Pegasus in all of Equestria, in my mind. I gave her goggles because when you're traveling at that speed and trying to make rainbow booms, I'm sure that you probably need eye protection. And also for her hair, I wanted to keep the rainbow aesthetic she has. Obviously, she's Rainbow Dash. And so I wanted to give her sort of, I think it's called a peekaboo cut, or something like that. It's when you have a color on top that's usually relatively natural. It's like black or brown. And then underneath, on like where you'd normally get like an undercut or underneath your hair, where it's not really seen, it's a different color. Usually it's like a blonde or like a bright pink or red. At least that's what I've seen. So I wanted to give her that same aesthetic. And because she's Rainbow Dash, I was going to have the top layer of her hair or mane be the rainbow, and then the underside be like yellow. Originally, that's what I was going to do. But then I found that the yellow I use in her like under color hair versus like the yellow I use in her regular mane, because again, yellow is a part of the rainbow, I had to use it twice. It looked a little weird, so I decided I'd change that to a darker color, but you won't see that until a little later. Then I color her tail. And I decided for Rainbow Dash that because she's supposed to be really fast, she should have really short hair. Like, I thought sort of pixie cut, but on a horse, you know, that doesn't really, whatever. But I thought that Rainbow Dash could have a pixie cut. So I made her tail really short. Like, I think her tail out of all of the main 6 is the shortest, and then Rarity and Fluttershy have the longest tails. And because she's always traveling around, I imagine that she, like, cut it really short just so it's easier to get around and maintain when she's flying around. I also changed her cutie mark quite a bit because I wanted it to be like a rainbow that wraps around and then has a lightning bolt inside. I do still really like Rainbow Dash's original cutie mark, but I just wanted to add that. Also, you see the darker parts of her mane where I was talking about the undercolor cut? I wanted to make that sort of a storm cloud because Rainbow Dash doesn't really make storm clouds at the show, but I just thought it would be a fun, like, darker color to add to her color scheme. And then for her wings, I made them pastel on the, like, feathery ends to really show that, like, when she's up in the sky being really fast, maybe her wings have lightened over time, sort of how you see plastic and, like, playgrounds lighten over time because it's been sitting out in the sun. Just a fun little detail I thought I'd add to add a little bit of pastel and a differentiation of colors in her color scheme. I also gave her a bunch of earrings and stuff, and originally she did have a few piercings, and then I took them out at the end. It's fine. But I imagine she really likes to decorate her ears and stuff as she wins competitions, and overall, I think she's a really cool design. I do like how it turned out quite a bit. I will still always love the original Rainbow Dash. She'll always be my favorite. But as I'm wrapping up these final design elements and details, I want to say thank you all for the support that I've been getting on the videos recently. A lot of you have been suggesting ponies I should do in the future, and I will definitely do that. Probably for next week, though, because it's May. I want to do a mermaid-inspired piece or something along those lines. But getting back to these pieces, I also colored the line art on all of them. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, but I do color my line art for these because in the original show, they do color the line art as well, so I thought it was fun. Moving forward, we have Fluttershy. So this is the design where I didn't do as much as I thought I would for it, because I feel like Fluttershy as a character is pretty well thought out. I think that her personality and her design is very simple. It's like she's a shy, sweet pony. Well, Pegasus, I guess I should say. And so, like, to encapsulate her, give her a light yellow, a light pink, make her sort of dainty, I guess you could say, and she's all good. So for my design, I just added Angel to her hair. Like, he tags along in a lot more of her adventures, being mischievous. And then she has really big, long hair this time. I decided to make her face really sweet, and just all around, she's just prancing about. One thing I did debate for Fluttershy is, should I make her, like, not a Pegasus? Because other than the one, like, bat episode in the show, I feel like Fluttershy doesn't really use her wings like Rainbow Dash does, or like any of the other ponies do. I'm not saying she has to. I mean, she spends most of her time on the ground taking care of animals, so there's really no need. But I was kind of debating making Fluttershy an earth pony because she doesn't really use them. Like, if she's on the ground, she doesn't really need them, right? But I realized I would kind of throw off the balance of the main 6 because each set of 2 ponies are like the same type of pony. So, like, there's 2 earth ponies, there's 2 unicorns, there's 2 Pegasuses. Pegasi? So if I made a different one, it would be kind of weird because then, it would throw off the balance and there would be like 3 earth ponies, there would be 3 earth ponies and then 1 Pegasus and then 2 unicorns. So it would be kind of weird. So I decided against that. But all in all, I do think keeping Fluttershy a Pegasus was a fine idea. And I'm not sure what I would do if I did that, so I don't know. I just thought it was a fun little thing to throw in there. But here I am moving on to the coloring stage. For most of the ponies, I keep their coloring very similar to the original because I do like the sort of rainbow the main 6 makes. And also just in general, it's a very fun concept to have that fluidity in it. And overall, because I didn't want my redesigns to be completely changing the characters, it's good to still use original elements. So for anything, I kind of just lightened or darkened the colors that were already present or just made certain colors that were less apparent in their designs more apparent. I didn't really change much in terms of what I needed to. I did make her hair slightly darker though, I believe. But following that, I would also like to say that I would like to do more My Little Pony redesigns in the future. Maybe not for the next video, but after that or sometime, further down the line. I'd really like to do some other characters that I got suggested, and I also would really like to do some of the non-pony characters, so, those like Discord, maybe the Griffins, stuff like that I think could be really, really fun. I could also do the Equestria Girls, which could be a really fun series as well. I remember watching those movies when I was younger, and maybe I'll rewatch them just for old time's sake. But here I am wrapping up Fluttershy's design to get back on track. I colored the line art, and then I'm just doing little details. I made her tail a gradient from a lighter pink to a darker pink, just because I thought it was cute. And yeah, so she'll be wrapping up very, very soon. I want to thank you all for watching so much, and thank you for enjoying the series as much as you have. If you'd like to see anything specific, please feel free to tell me. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!